Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast with me, your host, Tom Russ. Today, delighted to be joined by professional boxer, Lucas Ballingall. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me on, mate.
Anytime. Just before we jump into it, a massive fight 48 hours ago, Eubank Williams in Cardiff. Just want to get your reaction to it and if it went the way you sort of expected it to.
To be honest, it didn't go the way I thought it would. I thought it'd be a lot closer. I thought Williams would start taking over in the later rounds, but yeah, Eubank put on a great performance. So you can't knock him. Love him or hate him, he done really well.
Yeah, a lot of people were criticising Williams, saying maybe his punch resilience just wasn't there. It looked like he maybe went down easily. Maybe it was like a flash knockdown or some easy shots. What did you make of that?
Well, yeah, it was definitely shocking. Like it looked like it was just a little jab, a counter jab what dropped him. But he looked on unsteady legs as well when he got up. So I don't know about a flash knockdown because he definitely wasn't 100% when he got up on at least a couple of them knockdowns. But yeah, like it was just a great performance by Eubank, I think. When he said that he could have knocked him out, but he wanted to punish him, I think that was just stupid. I don't believe that at all. But other than that, it was a great performance. I don't know if he's struggling with the weight, Williams, or not. Like, obviously, he was originally a 154 fighter, but he's still only 29 and still got a good career ahead of him. So,
I was going to come on to that about Williams. Where does he go? Where does he go now? But you did mention about Eubank, his post-fight comments saying he could have stopped him if he wanted to at any point. I was going to ask you what you thought of that, being a fighter man. Surely, if you're in there and you feel like you've got someone hurt, the natural instinct is to get him out there.
Of course, as a fighter, if you've got someone hurt, you're going to finish the job. Saying he wanted to punish him for the stuff that happened in the build-up is silly. Like, I don't think that's true at all. I definitely think if he could have got him out of there, he would have. So,
do you see him going on to win a world title? Do you think he's good enough? I know he made it look quite comfortable against Williams. I think you can maybe question Williams' level, but do you think he can go on and win one now?
Yeah, I think he can. He showed he can box. We all know he's got a good chin as well, like his old man. But I believe he can win a world title. I do, yeah. I don't know with which champion. I think he could beat Golovkin, to be honest. So yeah, I think he's got a good chance to be a world champion.
I suppose it's about his team putting him in the right fights at the right time. Yeah, there's so many belts nowadays. I'm sure they can, navigate a wise move for him. What about Williams? Where do you see him going from here?
I'm not too sure because it all depends if he has been struggling with weight or not. If he does step up again to the super middle or not, I'm not too sure. But there's still a lot of big domestic fights at middleweight and super middleweight, and he could go on further still. I do believe that. But yeah, we've got to wait and see.
Of course. Talking about huge fights, I want to come on to your brother, obviously Mikey. Got an incredible fight in March the 19th against Virgil Ortiz in America. We've had your brother on the channel a couple of times, only earlier on last month, to talk about this big fight. What's the mood like in Portsmouth and the family? You must all be buzzing for it.
Yeah, buzzing. It's massive for my brother, massive for the team, massive for the family, and it's massive for the town as well. This is the biggest fight ever to happen for a Portsmouth fighter. He's gone out to the States against a dangerous, well-ranked fighter. But we're very confident that he'll go out there and do the job.
And being his brother, so you're close to him. I believe you train with him quite a lot as well. What's his mindset like? Because on one hand, it's great you've got this opportunity, but he was saying himself that he's not going there to make up the numbers. He's going there to do a job. He's been, the underdog on many occasions, and it just seems to fuel his fire, and it gives him that bit of extra motivation to go in there and shock the world.
Oh, definitely. Look, we're all very confident that he's going to go in and do the job. He's not just there for a payday. He's there to look good, win the fight, and then move on to bigger and better things. The team's very confident in that. And my brother's probably one of the most confident people I ever met in my life. He's very confident. and he believes he's going over there and he's going to derail Virgil Ortiz. So yeah.
Yeah, the last year has been significant, fighting in Gibraltar, Eddie Hearn's back garden, and now getting this opportunity. But how good does he need to be? Because Virgil Ortiz ranked #1. I think he's got 100% KO record. He's never fighted an undefeated fight, I believe. But how good does your brother need to be in March to win?
Of course, he needs to be on his A game, but in every fight he's had, he has brought his A game. He rises to the occasion. And he looks good doing so as well. Virgil Ortiz, yeah, proven he hits very hard and he's a good prospect. He's a good fighter. But my brother's just a completely different fighter. He's never fought anyone like my brother. The awkwardness, the southpaw awkwardness he's got, and just the natural awkwardness. Like, I don't know anyone as awkward as my brother. I've done plenty of rounds with him over the years. I know how hard he is to hit. And it doesn't matter how hard you can hit, if you can't land them punches, then it doesn't matter, does it? I'm very confident Mikey's going to win. So,
how difficult is it when you are in there sparring, when you're trying to land the gloves on him, and he is just so evasive?
Obviously, a bit different for me. Obviously, I'm used to it now. I know that.
Yeah, you probably know
I'm not going to land. I'm not going to land many shots, and I might have to take a few to land my own. But it's great. It's great being around it, training alongside him, which brings myself on as well. So, but yeah, he's very talented, and he's going to show that March 19th.
Well, we wish him all the best. We spoke briefly earlier. He said that you're an incredible, talented fighter. You've been a little bit unlucky in the last couple of fights that you've had. We spoke on the phone last week about him as well. Last couple of fights. Talk to us about the one you had in Russia, and then obviously talk about the one where it was difficult because you had the fight, but you wasn't completely yourself making the weight.
So yeah, it's basically started when COVID came about. I was 13-0. I've been very unlucky in my career so far. I've had total fights scheduled, total fights fell through via injuries on my behalf and the opponent's behalf. So yeah, I had a very stop-start of my career. Got to 13-0, looking for an opportunity, and then COVID came about. And yeah, not being signed with a big promotional team, I wasn't going to get no fights. And then yeah, I got offered a fight to go out to Belarus and fight, and I accepted it. The fight got offered to a lot of British fighters, with various fighters to go out there to fight Russians, and apparently a lot of them turned it down, just didn't want to take the risk. But I'm in it for them fights, and to improve, you need to take risks. So we took it. We knew it was gonna be hard to go over there and win as an away fighter. But yeah, went over there. I boxed a strong opponent. All his wins come by knockout, so he could dig. But to be honest, I thought I outboxed him. I thought I outboxed the lad. I was landing the cleaner shots, and I lost on the scorecards, which it was a close fight. Don't get me wrong, but the commentators had me winning. A lot of people at home had me winning. I had myself winning. But yeah, you're never going to get a decision out there. There was the scorecard. The scorecards were really very wide. That was the thing. The scorecards were ridiculous. But I took it as a learning fight. We went out there when not a lot of people wanted to. Showed that we're game and we'll fight anyone. We went out there, didn't get the decision, but I took it as a learning fight. Came back, and then yeah, that was my first defeat. Obviously, I was gutted. But then after that fight, I learned from that. It's take it as a learning curve. Records for DJs, as they say. I'll fight anyone, and so then I got the opportunity to fight for the English title. But before we accepted that fight, we didn't know if I could make 135 anymore. So the talk was to step up to 140. But then we got offered to fight for the English title. I was mandatory for the English title for like over a year. I was mandatory for, but we couldn't get the fight, and that's when I was a comfortable lightweight. But obviously, I grew, like, naturally just grew bigger. By the time we finally got offered to fight, still during COVID times, we just thought, let's give it a try. Let's see if we are still a 135 fighter or not. And we accepted the fight. To be honest, it was the best camp I had. I was fit, I was strong. I had a great team around me. But with all the testing and stuff like that, we knew it was going to be a big ask to make the weight and perform great like that. But as professionals we are, we went in there, we made weight the best we could. And yeah, we went in the ring, and I lost on a close decision. Lost by a point onto the scorecards, which once again I thought I won. Don't get me wrong, like, I was nowhere near the fight I was in the ring. Like, through the weight cut, I definitely wasn't the fighter I know I am, and we all know I am in my team. But I was fit, I was strong, and I walked forward for 10 rounds, and I thought I outworked the champion. But it was a close fight. It was no robbery. It wasn't a robbery, but I definitely thought I won the fight, and a lot of people did as well.
How hard is that? Because when you've been inactive because of COVID, of course you had the fight, and you didn't get the decision when you went away, and probably one of those places where you were never going to get a decision. But going on to the title fight, when you're offered that, how hard is that? Because on one hand, you want to get yourself in the ring, you want to win titles, but when you know that you may not be potentially at your best because of the weight, how difficult is that to make that decision?
I'm a fighter at the end of the day, and I'll fight anyone. But yeah, like, it was a no-brainer. We thought we were gonna have to take it. I never had a struggle making the weight beforehand, but just physically during the COVID times and stuff like that, I was filling out a bit. Naturally, I wasn't overweight or anything. I just looked bigger and looked sparring bigger people, and like, you could tell that I've just like, I filled out a bit, holding my own against people a lot bigger than me. But yeah, so we took it. I said, I'm a fighter, and I just wanted to fight. So, and being mandatory for a long time, like, I wanted that fight because I was confident. I thought I'd go in there and I'd win that fight and win that bout. But yeah, like, it is what it is. Like, I didn't get a decision on the night, and I do believe that the performance I put in was enough to win, but that was not me. That was 30% of me in the ring. And it's easy to say, oh, if that was at the weight above, I would have won the fight because I wouldn't have been fighting that same person. But if I was 100% and I made that weight and performed how I know I can, I thought I would have won that fight comfortable.
Talk to us a little bit as well then about actually making the weight, because I know equally it's about getting in the ring, but you speak to lots of fighters and it's also about making the weight. How tough is that, and what sort of measures do you have to put in place to make sure you do make the weight, and the sacrifices you've got to make?
Yeah, for a lot of time for fighters, making weight is the battle. It shouldn't be at all. It should be performing. And the training all should be to better yourself and getting in the best shape you can, and learning and developing your craft. That's what your training camp and all your training should be about. Not about trying to get that weight off. But yeah, unfortunately, a lot of fighters do that. And I've done it in the past. But you have to have a good team around you for one. A good nutritionist in Jack Coke. He's helped me a lot over my last few fights. But also, it got to a point where, because I know, like, for that English title fight, because I knew it was going to be a hard cut and a big ask to make that weight and be strong at that weight, I got a bit obsessed with nutrition, and I was constantly researching about more stuff about nutrition, about this and that. And I learned a lot through my nutritionist, Jack Coke, and just through like podcasts and YouTube and Googling stuff, and I just got obsessed with it because I know I need to know everything I can to make that weight and perform good. And I've done everything I could have, like in like possibly like healthy, like I've done it the right way. I didn't do nothing extreme, like or the whole camp was great. I was the fittest I've ever been. I was the strongest I've ever been. Obviously, fight week started getting a bit tougher because you had to get that weight off. But yeah, made weight. I knew straight from making weight that I didn't feel right, but I'm a fighter, like I said, and
when you
I went in there and yeah, carry on.
I was going to say, when you talk about fight week as well, when it gets a little bit tougher, what extra things are you doing that week to make sure you do make weight?
So I'll tell you what, if I didn't have a nutritionist on board, I would have done some very extreme stuff to make the weight. Luckily I didn't do nothing extreme like that to make the weight because I had a good nutritionist and good advice and help to cut weight correctly. And I learned a lot of like dropping certain things out of your diet fight week and manipulating certain things to get the weight off and stuff like that. And honestly, if I didn't have that help, and I would have still made the weight, I know I would have, but it would have been a lot worse, and I would have performed a lot worse, and it would have been a lot more dangerous in the ring. Like I was healthy in the ring. I wasn't 100%, but I was fit and strong, and that was all through my fitness and my nutrition. So
yeah, someone we both know, you obviously more so, Ben Dridge. We had him on the channel. Not a pro boxer, but I know he had an amateur background in boxing, and he was talking about making weight and some of the extreme measures that he put himself through. He was talking about sort of a couple of weeks before the fight, he would only eat raw mushrooms. Come closer to the weigh-in, he would sit in a sauna for hours and hours. Unfortunately, it's, I'm sure it caught up with him in the end, but amateur, pro, it does seem like nowadays with all these weight clauses in there that people are sort of taking, extreme measures to make weight. But when you was fighting then, how, I suppose, was it quite frustrating being in there because you knew that you had more, but obviously with all the weight cuts and making weight, it was obviously a tough position to be in.
100%. I knew from the first bout, like my reactions wasn't right. Like I went as sharp as I know I am, and it was frustrating. But coming back to the corner after the first round, we knew like what I needed to do. I knew I wasn't gonna be able to outbox him because I wasn't there. Like my sharpness wasn't there, my reactions wasn't there. I just need to give it to him because my fitness and strength was there, and I proved that. And I went forward for the next 9 rounds, and I bullied him about. And at times, he looked like he didn't want to be in the ring with me. And I was confident. I thought I won the fight. But yeah, I lost. Which, like I said, there was no robbery. He won the fight, but I definitely thought I'd done enough to take the belt off him. Yeah, like the things like you said about Ben there about like eating raw mushrooms like 2 weeks before the fight and stuff like that. Like yeah, like it's mad. Like people do stuff like that. Like with me, I was lucky and I had a good nutrition. The whole camp, I was eating the best I've ever ate, and the weight was still coming off. So I knew I was going in that ring and being fit and strong. Where like eating raw mushrooms 2 weeks before, you're not going to be going in that ring. It's not going to be safe going into that ring. And same with saunas. Like I wouldn't use a sauna to cut weight because your head, your brain's in that heat, and that's not going to do your brain any good. That's very dangerous stuff. I wouldn't do that personally. But like I said, that's from me researching a lot of stuff and just like being obsessed with nutrition now. Learning that sort of stuff. Maybe a few years ago, I probably would have done that. But yeah, now like I'm very knowledgeable about that side of stuff now. So yeah.
I suppose as well for yourself, it's all about getting in the ring. It's the team you've got around you that look after your training, your nutrition, and all the other bits and pieces. So going forward, what weight are you looking to fight at?
140. Yeah, super lightweight. I boxed my last 2 fights at that weight. Obviously not the best opposition, but I felt good. Like, I felt the best in the ring. So I know that's the way I'll be campaigning at. Yeah, I felt strong, I felt fit. So yeah, I'm ready to pick up some titles this year. So
okay. So what is next? When are you looking to get out?
I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. The thing is, I know I'm still now. I'm high risk, low reward. So no one's really going to give me notice for a fight. Obviously, I'd love 8 weeks or something like that, even 6 weeks notice for a fight. But I'm not going to get that. I'll get phone calls for like a week or two's notice and stuff like that. So it's all about staying ready. The weight's coming off. Everything's on track. I'm very fit. I'm strong. Just got a bit more weight to come off, and when that phone call happens, I'll be ready to go in there and do the business. So,
well, we've seen your brother get an opportunity and take it as the away fighter. How tough is that, knowing that you may get an opportunity though, but you might only get it at short notice? Is it, like you say, then just about getting yourself in the best position possible, best fitness, so when you do get a call, you are ready?
yeah, exactly. Like, it's part of the game. Boxing's a hard sport, and you can have luck. We don't. My career's been very unlucky so far, so I'm willing to do anything it takes to get to where I know I should be. And yeah, so it's about staying ready. I'm fit. I'm always in the gym anyway, but I've always loved my food, so that's been the problem. But I've learned now how to maintain it now, and yeah, so I'll be ready for the phone call. And when that comes, I'll be ready to pick up some titles.
And given the right opportunities, how far do you believe you can go in the sport?
I've got the talent to go very far. I know I do. But it's all about getting them opportunities. And I need to perform in the ring. And I believe at the higher weight, I will perform how I know I can in the gym. I know I've got what it takes to at least win a British title, definitely. So,
well, we hope that you do get the opportunity, so you can showcase your ability and get to the level that you believe you can. Mate, listen, one of the reasons why we really enjoy doing the podcast is because, as much as we like talking about what fighters are going to do in the ring, up and coming fights, and their journey in the sport, it's nice to learn about people, what they do away from boxing. So away from boxing, what do you enjoy doing?
well, apart from spending time with my daughter, I go to the cinema a lot. That's my thing. I go to the cinema a lot. I'll watch anything really, especially when like I'm in camp as well. All my friends are going out doing whatever. Like, that's my thing. I'll go to the cinema like 2-3 times a week. So
That's the thing. It's one of those sports, isn't it, where it doesn't just stop when you stop training. You've got to make a lot of sacrifices. No late nights, early starts, runs, etc.
exactly, yeah.
It seems like I watched everything over lockdown. Are you watching anything good at the moment you can recommend? Because again, it looks, when I look on there, it's like, oh no, I've already watched that.
So I don't know. Like, I'm looking for something now. I watch a lot of TV, and because I watch a lot of TV, there ain't much like options for me to watch. But yeah, I'm not too sure.
That's it. There's a lot on there, but I think again with lockdown, a lot of people have got
Yeah,
through a
everyone's
lot.
watched everything. Yeah, yeah.
Again, we saw a good fight, a couple of nights ago. Eubank Williams, Sky obviously got Khan Brook coming up. Fury White looks like it's going to be made now as well. Katie Taylor press conference today talking about her huge fight in April. What fights are you personally looking forward to? Of course, your brothers goes without saying, huge fight. But any other fights you're looking forward to this year?
Katie Taylor and Serrano will be a great fight. And also the flyweights, Martinez and Roman Gonzalez is going to be a very good fight as well. I'm looking forward to watch that.
Yeah, there are so many fights being made at the moment. Looking at the heavyweight scene, Fury White, when they get it on, how do you see that fight going? And do you give much? Would you give White much opportunity in that fight?
They're heavyweights at the end of the day. Anything can happen. Do I think White's a bigger puncher than Wilder? No, not at all. Is he a better boxer than him? Yeah, he is. But Fury, you can't not back Fury. Like, he's been unbeatable, isn't he? So I'd back Fury in that fight.
And what about AJ Usyk? It looks like they're going to have to get it on now. Obviously, lots of talk about step aside money, which is crazy to think. Really, fighters maybe getting millions not to fight. But when they get it back on, who do you see winning that one?
I'd have to back Usyk again. His boxing IQ is just too good, too much for him, I think. But AJ's a much bigger and stronger man. If he comes straight on that front foot and bullies him, use his size, then yeah, he could win. But I'd still back Usyk.
As much as well, AJ may change the game plan. I know a lot of people say he needs to go in there and impose his strength and maybe be the AJ that fought White a few years ago. How much does it benefit Usyk now, though? Now he's already been in there with him.
Oh, a lot. He's a very clever man, very clever boxer, and for a man of his size, he can move around the ring very, very well. But at the same time, AJ's got nothing to lose. He's already been beat by the man once, so he's going to be a lot more dangerous in a rematch, AJ. So yeah, like I said, it's heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen. I'd back Usyk, but if AJ do come forward and use his size, then yeah, he could get him out of there.
Yeah, of course. I know that AJ, lost to Ruiz, and he made it look comfortable in the rematch. I just feel like Usyk's a completely different kettle of fish, and people always looking for reasons why Joshua didn't win or what he needs to do. But credit to Usyk. I watched the fight and he was incredible, just so nimble, so sharp. And I suppose a bit like your brother as well. It must be tough when you're in there. You're trying to land a shot, and these fighters are just so hard to hit.
Yeah, exactly that. But yeah, like there's some great fights coming up. Obviously, number one for me is my brother fighting next month out in LA. But yeah, boxing is back pumping, isn't it? After all the COVID and stuff. Some great fights coming up. I'm looking forward to it, and looking forward to get one scheduled in for myself as well.
Have you booked your flights yet to LA?
Yeah, it's all booked. Boats, hotels, all sorted. Hopefully, I can get some sparring out there as well. So,
I was going to say a bit of sun, but no, it's all business. Sparring. How long are you going out for?
Only going out for 6 days. Out there for 6 days, but yeah, hoping maybe pop in a wild card or something, get some rounds with someone in there or something. While out there, got to make the most of it. Yeah, I'm there for business.
No, it'd be incredible. Not only going to LA to see your brother fight in such a huge fight, one fight away from a potential world title.
Exactly, and he is going to win this fight. And he's going to look good doing so as well. So yeah, I'm buzzing for it. I can't wait. He's looking amazing at the moment, in the best shape of his life already. Still 6 weeks left, and yeah, I'm just buzzing.
Well, fingers crossed he goes over there and shocks the world. I know from speaking to you, your brother, your dad, he's incredibly confident. There's no sort of self-doubt there. But he knows that he's got to train hard and go and put on a brilliant performance. He also said that you're an incredible fighter. So as soon as you've got some news, we can get you back on to talk about fights. But listen, mate, it's been a pleasure to get you on to talk about your journey in the sport so far. And yeah, hopefully the next one, get back to winning ways.
Lovely, mate. Yeah, we'll do. And yeah, looking forward to speak to you soon.
Yeah, perfect. Take care. Have a good evening.